I got lost in the ocean. I was underwater, took a wrong turn, got stuck in some currents, and by the time I serviced, I was 1.5 miles away from where I should have been. Thought I was gonna die. The only option I have is to not give up. That was very much a metaphor for what we're going through now. Because if we give up, 100%, we're dead. I think we're in that situation right now. You can't give up.
So we just snuck into Costa Rica the first time since 2002, 14 years ago, to check out what's going on with the fin industry here and what we might be able to do about it. And we had a local contact set up some interviews for us. So the word is out in the Costa Rican government now that I'm here and that Sharkwater's here and we're making Sharkwater 2 and we're not here without filming permits. They don't even know we're in the country. So we gotta watch our back.
Years ago, I began a quest to save sharks from shark fin soup, a Chinese delicacy. Millions of sharks were being thinned, where they were pulled out of the water, their fins were cut off, and they were thrown back into the oceans to die, destroying the populations of some of the most important predators the planet has ever had. I thought that if I could change the public's view of sharks, if I could make them love these animals like I did, see that they're beautiful and amazing and magnificent and important, then maybe they'd want to fight for their protection like they fight for pandas and elephants and bears.
Well, the movie, it took me 5 years. It nearly killed me 6 times. We had to run from the country while the Coast Guard was firing machine guns at us. And it, turned into this crazy story that shows you how much money there is in the exploitation of sharks.
The film Sharkwater brought the plight of sharks for shark fin soup into the spotlight, resulting in the creation of conservation groups, government policy changing all around the world, and an empowered youth that knew they could change the world. Today, shark finning is banned throughout most of the world. But now, sharks are in more trouble than ever before. We're killing up to 150 million sharks a year, but scientists can only account for 70 million of those. There are 80 million sharks every year that are getting killed, and nobody knows why or where those sharks are going.
And what's changed in Costa Rica in the last 10 years?
Well, it's changed dramatically from Sharkwater. We're actually turning into marine conservation leaders in these conventions. And Costa Rica was doing a great job. Unfortunately, we had a new president step in, and in the matter of a stroke of a pen, in 1 year, many of these policies were reversed. We saw Costa Rica export 900 kilos of hammerhead shark fins against the CITES Convention. They actually did 2 exportations. To do this, the government of Costa Rica just decided to ignore its commitments with CITES and the international community, and Costa Rica just decided, we're going to export these hammerhead shark fins because they're public interest. And they did. And they even got the president of Costa Rica to sign a statement saying that the government was no longer going to protect sharks in international conventions. And that's when we really flipped, because work that we had done for 10 years, over 3 presidents, in a matter of months, it's all, torn to pieces. Costa Rica's not going that way anymore.
Algunos de ustedes saben, hace pocas semanas fui distinguido con un título internacional de enemigo de los tiburones. Y decidí que mejor hablábamos un poco sobre eso. Tiene que ver con una dicotomía falsa entre conservación y producción, entre la responsabilidad que tenemos o que deberíamos tener de garantizar la supervivencia y la sostenibilidad de los recursos naturales, no solamente de los marinos, y la obligación que junto con esa responsabilidad viene aparejada de poner a la orden de las comunidades humanas esos recursos para su supervivencia.
Yep. Is shark finning still happening in Costa Rica?
It's happening, but without the permission and without the support and without the willingness of the Costa Rican government. Finning is happening simply because it's an illegal action, and it's just as it happens with narco trafficking or any other action, it continues to happen, and I regret that. And the authorities of Costa Rica are taking all the necessary steps to prevent it.
It's always the same with them. Say one thing and do another.
We're headed to Punta Arenas because we figured out that if you want to bring illicit fins into Costa Rica, all you have to do is land them in port on the weekend when the fisheries body that looks after fish isn't working. So we're gonna ruck up to Punta Arenas, pull out our cameras, and see if we can film anything illegal happening on the weekends and happening without any official body watching.
Are you going to be your real name?
No. I'm gonna be
What
Laura.
about when they ask you for your ID?
So do you think I have to take my ID?
Just try and watch your back, Reggie.
People don't realize there's so much money in the trade of animals. There's so much money in the trade of fins. It's a billion-dollar industry. There's multi-millionaires playing mafia rings like puppeteers trying to exploit the resource.
Gotta be kidding me.
I'm not surprised.
We're going to meet William Flores, who, when we were last in Punta Arenas, told us about these mafia warehouses drying shark fins. And so now that we're back in Costa Rica, we're going to go meet him and see how the situation's changed, where they're drying fins, and what we might be able to do to help save sharks in Costa Rica.
Ok, aquí todavía se ve, pero muy poco. Empresas taiwaneses compraron muelles a muy altos precios, multimillonarios, millones de dólares, para que ellos poder hacer sus empresas aquí a la libre.
That's yours.
The life jacket. It's better.
For what?
For the-
To look like a tourist? Sure.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Y son miles de barcos que ellos tienen pescando en el Océano Pacífico Oriental, que ellos pescan, pasan por Costa Rica, descargan en los muelles privados y pasan por los aeropuertos. Y muy mafiosas, ellos son muy poderosos económicamente, muchos cientos o miles de dólares, millones de dólares. Son personas que están involucradas aquí con ese negocio y tienen comprado a los gobiernos anteriores y a este gobierno.
Which one's the bear down?
Sharks are worth an enormous amount of money, and it's mostly for their fins. And, you know, a single pound of fin is worth over $200 US. So to fishermen around the world in third world countries, you can pull up a shark, cut off its fins, throw the rest of the body back, dry the fin. You don't need refrigeration systems on your boat, so even the most decrepit boats can go out there and make enormous amounts of money. And sharks are being fished everywhere.
Oh, look, he's got something. What is it?
It looks like a hammerhead to me.
So you want to buy it off of him? He looks like he's interested in. Yeah. Black tips?
Eh? No, this is a little hammerhead. No, ¿es punta negra o es martillo?
Este punta negra,
Pero
buena.
este no, ¿no? A ver.
Son iguales, mi amor.
Ah, sí, sí, sí.
Son iguales.
No.
Son iguales, mi amor. Vea, esta es la que va. Son buenos. La vestita, vela.
They have 30 of these ones.
30. And they're little black tips, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to be careful. Okay, that's a must. You cannot go, especially if you're gonna be shooting in Punta Arenas. You already know how dangerous it is right there. You guys run for your life. You know, I remember one shooting that you were meeting, or you went into a warehouse, I think so, and you saw the shark fins on the roof. Yeah. And you guys were running, literally. So you have to be careful. Costa Rica is a good country. Unfortunately, there's very bad players involved.
Ready, Rob.
El problema es que hay una empresa grande aquí que es manejada por un costarricense, un puntarenense, millonario. Tiene 2 embarcaciones, trae tipo asiático los farjos de las aletas congeladas, descarga de madrugada, viernes, amaneciendo sábado porque no hay autoridades, y las pone a secar, las vende a Singapur o a Taiwán. Él aquí tiene 2 helicópteros, tiene apartamentos, tiene hoteles, tiene de todo, gracias a las aletas de tiburones.
Holy shit, there's one clear panel and I think there's fins in it.
When we realized how much money there was in fins in all of these operations and how much money was going to Costa Rica for the fin industry, that was a major eye-opener.
Wow, that's a lot of fins.
You think of Costa Rica and you think of, you know, lots of conservation happening. You don't expect one of the most progressive countries down there to encounter that, but we did.
Pero el problema de esa persona, que no puedo decir nombre porque tengo que proteger la entidad mía, no la entidad de él, que es realmente muy poderoso y me puede mandar a matar, sinceramente.
We need to leave this place right now.
What's going on?
Okay, this hotel is from the owner of Mariscos One. It's Diego, so it's one of the big mafia of Punta Arenas.
That makes perfect sense.
We have been living here, so it's not nice.
You know, we've been here thus far.
Yeah, but we were flying drones off the roof yesterday.
What do you mean?
We're being a little more conspicuous today. Like taking off remote control helicopters off the roof and flying over the ports. So now a few people have seen us do that.
I think we have to check out and go our separate ways.
For sure.
After that, I got death threats and I had to leave Costa Rica. The next time I saw Rob was just before the last dive.
I was a fish nerd when I was a kid.
I was chubby, I stuttered, and I ended up liking animals more than people. I had a goldfish bowl, I think, from the time I was 0, and just fell in love with fish and looked into that world and saw these creatures that I didn't really understand, that could breathe water, that could fly. I had the opportunity to go underwater and hang out in the Caribbean as a kid. Because I was so young, I wasn't allowed to dive. And the only way I could go down there and hang out with these fish was holding my breath and swimming down. And it was the most magical world possible. You know, you're in a 3-dimensional world, you can fly. And as a kid, that just enthralled me. I met my first shark when I was 9. I saw the shark out of the corner of my eye, and it swam in my direction. And the second it made eye contact with me, it freaked out and swam the other direction. For me, that whole experience, 5-foot Caribbean reef shark, terrified of a 9-year-old kid, removed all the fear I had of sharks and of the ocean and allowed me to go explore it further and fall deeper in love. I'm here in Cat Island in the Bahamas because one of the most amazing sharks in the world, the oceanic white-tip shark, comes here only in the month of May. Now, the oceanic white-tip shark was once the most abundant large predator on the planet. They were everywhere, but because they have massive fins that are highly valued in the fin industry, oceanic white-tip shark populations in the Atlantic and Caribbean have dropped 99%. When I heard these creatures were spotted in this area, my team decided to take a chance and see if we could capture them on film so others could see the reality behind what Jacques Cousteau once called
the most dangerous of all sharks. Having never filmed them before, and with a serious reputation, I'm a bit cautious as I learn to understand these sharks. Oceanics turned out to be absolute sweethearts. They have the most expressive and curious eyes I've seen in any shark, and you can really feel them reading you. They're also a little cheeky and very intelligent. The most important thing for me when filming sharks is to try to understand what life is like for them, how they see the world, and what makes them special. Because my goal is to make people fall in love with sharks. And for that, people need to see a bit of their softer side, a bit of their intelligence, and maybe see a bit of themselves in the sharks.
Big today, baby, something big. Stand by, we're gonna hang them high. I got good feeling today, baby.
How many sharks have you killed, do you think?
Oh, man. Well, they say 100,000, but I don't think that's true. I say more like 50.
50,000?
Yeah.
So is there one kind of shark you'd like to catch today more than any other?
Right now, I'd like to catch either a mako or a tiger. Hammerheads, probably the most common sharks we catch out here.
Now, great hammerheads, they say, are endangered. Do you believe it?
No. Negative. No hammerheads are in danger. There's plenty of them out here. You catch them every trip. That's all Shark Week propaganda. I mean, you know, you got to put it in perspective a little bit. I mean, this is just an animal that's on Earth for what reason? For man to eat. I mean, sure, there's a decline in the sharks because the commercial guys are whacking them pretty good, and there's a demand for them. So you put a trophy price on something, it's gonna die. Yeah. Simple. Show me the money. When we normally get a bite right about now. Sometimes, you know, you gotta wait a long time for a bite. Like today, when there's no current, water's kind of dirty, a lot of trash in the water, and you just have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think it is people like about going to fish for sharks?
Well, sharks are the apex predator, you know. They
feel tension in my
have been, and they always will
hand
be.
a lot all the
Whoa,
time.
what was that? You in a fight there? Watch out, move, push the nose, Ryan. Get in a fight right now. We got him out here. Finally got a fight. Take a line, big fish here, big fish. All right, get set up, guys, get set up. Oh yeah, big fish here. Woo, cracking his head. Easy now, easy, everything's slow and smooth. Cheer up, come on, cheer up. Get ready to get in here.
I am ready.
How long does this normally take?
Sometimes they'll come right up to the boat, you get an identification on them, and it might be another hour after that. It's really average fight with this setup, with this type of rod and reel combination. Average fight on your average shark, which is a lot of different variables, obviously. It's about a half hour, 45 minutes. It can go a lot quicker, go a lot longer.
People tell you your whole life to be afraid of sharks. Pretty well everything we've been receiving from the media, from just about everybody, is that sharks are dangerous and they're gonna kill you and they're gonna eat you. But the reality is totally different. You know, they've been here for actually 400 million years.
They've survived 5 major extinctions on Earth that wiped out most life on the planet. They've seen life on Earth rebuild from scratch 5 times. 450 million years of sharks' presence on Earth, we've decimated in 30 years. Shark populations dropped 90% in 30 years. 90%. How could this be happening? How could this be happening? With sharks in particular, a lot of them, particularly hammerheads, seem to not survive.
After you catch it?
After you catch it.
Yeah, well, if you just keep them at the boat for a few minutes or so, their chance of survival is really, really slim and none.
Yeah.
Yeah. You almost have to cut them off at the boat and let them keep going swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah. You stop and take a picture and try to get the hooks out and all that stuff. It's probably not going to survive.
Yeah. And that's okay with you if the sharks
What are you
don't
going to do?
survive?
I mean, you can't put a sign on the hook, say, hey, I don't want any hammerheads biting this bait. I mean, how are you going to do that? Well done, well done. Good job. Well done. Pretty work, guys, pretty work. Move to the front.
Manny, what's happening?
Grab the other side. Nice work, Maddie. It's a wrap. High tag and release. She swam away really good. Woo. Good job. Hey, you got to break a couple of eggs if you want to make an omelet. Remember that, all right? Good job.
That was really fucked up, bro. I have seen like a hammerhead like that once in my lifetime in the distance on the Great Barrier Reef for about 15 seconds before it swam off. And that was the closest I've ever been to a hammerhead, and that was terrible. He's thrashing around at the end, thrashing around, and it just like gave up. That's the worst thing about it. Like, you can film that on a commercial fishing boat and it's still messed up, but you understand why they do it. But when people do that kind of stuff for fun, I have absolutely no contemplation of what's going through that person's head, why that's fun for someone.
Rob said, "It was good to see me having so much care and sadness over an individual, that I could still cry over one animal after all we have seen. He was like an older brother."
The killing of sharks is, I think, one of the biggest concerns we should have on the planet ecologically today. We depend on ecosystems for survival. We depend on other species. They're part and parcel of ourselves, of our daily lives. Removing sharks is removing part of the framework that allows life to exist on land. It's the animal that sits on top of 70% of the oxygen in the air that we breathe from phytoplankton in the oceans. If we remove one species, the consequences ripple through entire ecosystems. And right now we're removing, the most important predator the planet has. And the consequences are going to not just affect oceanic ecosystems, they're going to affect our ecosystems and ourselves.
Con 40, la vuelta para acá.
We're now killing up to 150 million sharks a year, and it's not just shark fin soup anymore. Sharks are now being killed and renamed and fed to us, so we don't know we're eating shark. This is a massive scandal, representing tens of millions of sharks every year.
La red, mucho. De la chiquitita a la red pequeñita.
Eating sharks is a bad idea. We're eating endangered super predators. We're eating animals that can take 40 years to reach sexual maturity. They can have very few young. Most of the pollution we've ever made as a species has gone into the environment untreated. And that accumulates in living animal matter and concentrates as you go up the food chain. By the time you get to sharks, they're enormously toxic with things like lead and mercury and even neurotoxins. So it's important that we keep sharks out of our food. They're enormously toxic. And it's recommended women and children don't eat them at all. It's really important to bring this message to the public.
Así vas a ver, a ver si vas a ver. Esto es rizo, mira.
Sí, revitizado.
Ajá. Here are the fins.
It's worth a lot of money. I mean, this is
Here, it's $5.
$5?
Yeah.
This is $5
Max.
here.
So $5 here, and in China, $200?
Yeah. A pound of the little ones, it's 50 cents.
¿Sabes cuánto
cents?
Here in Panama.
¿Cuánto que se cae en esta propiedad?
Sí, porque cuando se secan.
They then use big one for 7 cents. They use it.
Baby hammerheads.
Sin embargo, cuando le pasas la mano, no, cuando tú le pasas la mano a este, te corta la lija.
As we have learned, there has been 2 confiscations, right? Shark fin confiscations.
Why do they keep the fins here?
Because this is the Coast and Ocean Department of the Environmental Ministry.
Okay.
And it's in their custody.
We're here in a parking lot in Panama City with hundreds of thousands of dollars of shark fins confiscated from people that were trying to check these into airlines and fly them to Asia. ¿Esta? ¿Esta es la otra? This is a seizure of 800 pounds of shark fins in Panama, representing $300,000 in shark fins, many of which are illegal and on the endangered species list, including the scalloped hammerhead shark, our favorite species.
Es que sí, hay que sacar algunos que no son tan...
Y de hecho hay algunas que puede que nos hayamos equivocado y que no sean todas locales.
Son enormes.
Todas.
These are all scalloped hammerheads?
Yep.
In essence, they should.
Yeah.
They are huge hammerheads.
Punto el número 5. Estamos sacando el 213.
And there's 40,000 fins here?
38,868.
Oh my god. 38.
Porque las contamos individuales, o sea, contando incluyendo dorsals, pectorals,
We've seen
caudals.
many different shark species of many different sizes. Among these, probably the largest hammerhead fins that at least I have seen. To the newborns, to larger ones.
Yeah, the thing that we get a little bit depressed when you see these little small shark fins from hammerhead that coming from neonat or +1 or +2, which pretty much are the sharks that are actually hanging around in the nursery areas. And it's kind of disappointing to see a large amount of baby hammerhead that they're using for the shark fin trade, because it's kind of like destroying the whole population, just the small ones. Kind of sad.
That's just tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Panama is one of the important places where the big mamas coming to give birth. It's an important nursery area, so it's part of the heritage that Panama has, so it's important to protect them.
This is a lot of shark fins.
Yeah, I never seen something like that before.
When we started making shark water, there were 4 countries that had banned shark finning. When we were finished, there were 16 countries that had banned shark finning. Now there's more than 90 countries around the world that have banned the process of finning, but none of them have banned the importation of fins, which means you can fin as many sharks as you want as long as you put the fins on a shipping boat before you bring them into port, not a fishing boat, which is a massive loophole.
So those are reefer containers that Rob's identified as being full of frozen shark. Think Rob's gonna get pinched? That guy's obviously plainclothes security, right?
Yeah. All the brass he is.
Yeah, he is. He's not afraid of anything. Holy crap. That's a fin.
It's laying on the wharf.
So we're all shark biologists here. Any idea what species?
Another one. Not a blue shark would be the guess.
Holy.
Yeah, that's not blue shark, brother.
No, that's not a blue. We've seen plenty of their fins.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Definitely not a blue.
That's a dorsal from something, I'd say. What's this?
Blue shark tags
Tiburon azul, yeah.
stating that the blue sharks that were landed here were caught in Spain.
Oh, really?
And we're nowhere near Spain.
So apparently they're not really trying to hide us.
Does this shit make you nervous?
No.
What's happening?
There's two Japanese long-line boats that have showed up in port in Cape Verde. One of them appears to be transshipping onto a freezer container ship. We gotta get up there and see.
Where's the Japanese boat?
Right there. And you can see the transshipping boat. You can see the transshipping boat over there. The freezer container ship. You can see the two boats, the Japanese boat and the freezer container ship. They're right now with each other, and the freezer container ship has got a crane over top of the Japanese boat right now. Oh shit, dude, they're unloading right now. At the end of the dock, they're unloading blue sharks. Fuck, what are these boats? There's tons of them.
Cars pulled up behind ours, and he just randomly beside us. He looks Costa Rican.
Oh, great. We're going into the government docks to see if we can get in and get some footage of this boat unloading blue sharks on the shipping container. Secret weapon, a tiny camera that makes me look like a civilian and not professional. So we can sneak in and get shots where we otherwise wouldn't be able to. Big fish. Tiburon. Hello. Hi, nice to meet you. What's your name? Rodin. Cool.
money.
Is this full, or it will be all the way full?
All the way full.
All the way, wow. They're all big blue sharks in that container. Blue sharks are cute, they're dopey, big eyes, don't really ever bite people. They're loading the shipping container full of tens of thousands of pounds of blue sharks onto a shipping boat to leave the country.
The word is out around the world that sharks mean money. You know, we spent 4 years, 15 countries trying to figure out what the biggest environmental issues were out there, only to discover that one of the biggest destructors of our life support system is in our own backyard.
We're in a little airplane looking for shrimp gill nets. Hugely destructive, predator fishing. They catch any fish that swims into it, including dolphins, whales, sea turtles, and tons of sharks. We're going to see if we can locate these fishermen, receive them, so that we can go out tonight in a fast boat and get in the water to film what's caught on these nets before it gets brought into the boat.
I think the biggest issue we have on the planet right now, aside from the environment, is our lack of awareness of what's going on. We don't know about our individual actions, about our consumption, about our governments and corporations destroying our life support system. If we did, our morals would engage and we'd be guided to a world that works. We'd hold our friends and our family and our governments accountable for this stuff, but we just don't know what's going on.
Found the drift nets, one about a mile long, and we're gonna go a little bit of a distance from the nets so we don't make ourselves known to the fishermen, so they think we might be, just stumbling upon it instead of stalking them.
My parents worry all the time, yeah. What I've always told them, I just have this belief that I'm gonna be okay, and I'm sure I'm gonna be okay. And the amount of times that I've almost died and ended up okay have sort of reinforced that belief that I'm gonna be okay. I know exactly how I'm gonna die, when I'm gonna die.
It's sunrise, and we're about to jump in the water in Santa Monica Bay on the other side of Catalina Island. to go see what is caught in drift nets, nets that are a mile long, that just hang as a curtain at night and catch anything that swims into it. It's a hugely destructive method of fishing that kills dolphins, whales, turtles, sharks, and all sorts of things under the guise of catching swordfish. So knowing how we've already so decimated the oceans, this method of fishing should not be happening. And it definitely shouldn't be happening in Los Angeles. The only reason it's happening is because people don't see it. They don't know what's happening here. And we're gonna change that. Some fisheries will waste 85% of what they bring to the service as bycatch. Right now, we're wasting 54 billion pounds of dead fish every year that's brought out of the ocean and killed and thrown back because it wasn't our target fish. We wanted the more expensive one, so we threw back all these amazing animals.
Let's go. Are they shooting? Yeah, yes. Let's go.
So we just filmed a thresher shark and a blue shark on a drift gill net right outside of Los Angeles. And while we were doing that, all of a sudden the boat was immediately on top of us. They were firing shots at you guys on the boat. Both the blue shark and the thresher shark were still alive, so you can see their mouths opening and closing and them struggling, and the blue shark had it, the mesh caught in its mouth. And the thresher shark was mangled, all messed up from thrashing around within the net. Really sad to see an endangered, majestic super predator stuck in a primitive fishing method in the town that I'm living in. It's crazy.
How do you feel?
I don't feel good. It's super emotional. It was really hard to watch that thresher just dying. But we're gonna stop this. That was the last time Rob and I went diving together in our own backyard.
Do you want to talk?
Sure. Actually,
Make sure it's fresh. You're close enough.
Hey, Sharks, it's Ashley. How can I help you?
yeah, hey, I was wondering, do you guys have any sharks in stock? Hey, we're just walking into a grocery store that has for sharks. So if they could recommend going to this one over this one?
Do you have any shark for sale?
Could you tell me what kind of shark you have? Black-eyed shark. Huh. I am just curious as to what you might have in stock for shark.
I got some shark. I got some black tip.
Yeah, hey, I was wondering what kind of sharks you guys have in stock.
Awesome, and it's fresh caught daily this time of year, right?
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, we'll be by in a bit. Bye.
I'm wondering if anybody back there knows what the species of shark is.
I think that's a shark. I don't know what kind of shark is that. Shark is shark.
tipsy shark?
Oh, wow.
Wild shark. Yeah, I mean, that just means it didn't come from SeaWorld, but...
Yeah, I said wild shark.
Huella infinita de tu rostro alegre y de tu voz sobre la faz de la tierra. Ayene kono jene kama kami akanaya okuna kanaya ne jane kumanaya jinane kuma janeka okuna jane kumaka.
Hi, can I have one of your vegan meals, please?
Thank you. Bye. Do you know what swai is? What the heck is swai? Iridescent shark.
What do you have that's got fish in it?
It's Alaskan halibut.
Alaskan halibut.
It's on the box.
In the box. Okay, sweet.
You gonna do some shark barbecuing?
Yeah.
Are you?
Sure, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I heard it's good for fish and chips.
It is, yeah.
They'll stay
Yeah,
together.
yeah, it's good for ceviche. Ooh, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
Okay, we are in Florida, and we just bought a bunch of pet food and fast food and fish products, and we're gonna test them to see if there's shark in them.
We're right now at FIU, Florida International University. My name is Diego Cardeñosa. I'm a PhD student from Stony Brook University in New York.
Thanks.
We collect shark fin samples and we do genetic barcoding on them. So we assess the composition and the proportion of species in the shark fin trade. All right, let's do this.
Okay.
So right now we're testing your samples of pet food, some shark fillet purchased in supermarkets, some tuna salad. So the idea is to try to see if we can find any trace of shark DNA in those products, and to identify if there's any shark DNA in those products, try to identify it at least to the genus or species level. So basically what this does is once we put it in the thermocycler, it will boil to 100 degrees.
Okay.
So that destroys the tissue or whatever the sample is.
Yeah.
And breaks the cell open.
Yeah.
And captures everything that is not DNA and leaves you like a clear liquid, let's say, with the DNA. That's the one you're gonna use for your PCR afterwards.
Okay.
If there's a shark DNA in this thing, it will let us know.
Yeah.
Now just mixing a little bit of a shark DNA cocktail. 33% of the pet food products tested positive for shark DNA, including blacktip and mako shark, which is a vulnerable species known for very high mercury levels. We also found traces of blacktip, scalloped hammerhead, milk, and blue shark DNA in the beauty care products we tested.
Fishing studies showed that shark populations have dropped an estimated 90% in the last 30 years. 100 million sharks get killed every year and nobody notices. It is astronomical.
And this is a huge consumer awareness issue that can be fought and can be won. We're not just killing sharks for shark fin soup. We're killing sharks for a myriad of crazy reasons. Sharks are now being killed and renamed and fed to us. Things like rock salmon and flake, so we don't know we're eating shark. Sharks are also turning up in pet food, livestock feed, fertilizer, and even in cosmetics. we're smearing endangered super predators on our faces without knowing it. So it's important for all of us, if we want to ensure a healthy environment into the future, to make sure that the things we buy, the foods we buy, the cosmetics are shark-free. Insist on a world that's shark-free and insist that your cosmetics, your fertilizers, your pet food, your livestock feed doesn't contain shark or shark products. These are rebreathers. They recirculate the air that you breathe and inject the quantity of gases that you want, depending on the depth that you're going to. And they let you get a lot closer to fish and sharks because you don't make bubbles, which are very scary for animals like that. And you can stay down a lot longer. You can stay down for 6 hours, almost as long as you want or need to. So we're going to use this new technology to go deeper than we've ever been before to film a creature that people have rarely seen in the wild, the sawfish, one of the most endangered sharks in the world.
So I'm going to say let's splash. Still sitting 46 feet off my mark, so I think we're about as secure as I can get us. Okay. Do it. I'm marking a lot of fish down there.
This is United States Coast Guard Communications Station, Sector Key West. We request to know if you need assistance. Over.
Watch standards at Sector Key West Command Center received a report of a missing diver. The diver is identified as 37-year-old Robert Stewart from Toronto, Canada.
Canadian filmmaker has gone missing while diving in Florida. The U.S. Coast Guard is searching for Rob Stewart right now off the coast of the
Florida Keys. The U.S. Coast Guard tells us, and they're using a helicopter, a boat, a team of divers, and in the last hour, they've just added a plane to that search. The Coast Guard says
Stewart and 4 others were diving in the Florida Keys off the coast of Isla Morada. As their dive came to an end, he resurfaced and signaled that he was fine.
Stewart disappeared while the boat crew attended to his instructor, who had exited the water but then collapsed on deck. The friend said that he jumped in but couldn't find him. He wasn't seen again.
3 days later, the search continues, including hundreds of volunteers in small craft, helicopters, and airplanes. His worried parents pray that he's found alive.
It doesn't look great, but he's the kind of person that will survive.
He's super fit and he's a great swimmer, and he's done thousands of dives.
The body of missing Toronto filmmaker Rob Stewart has been found in the waters off the Florida Keys.
Tributes have been paid to the Canadian filmmaker and campaigner Rob Stewart, who's died while diving off Florida. Rob Stewart won many awards for his
documentarista canadese si sono perse le tracce la notte del
Stewart hilang menyelam di Florida.
Dernière minute, le corps du documentariste torontois Rob Stewart aurait été retrouvé en Floride.
Deep sadness in Toronto today at the funeral of Rob Stewart, an acclaimed filmmaker and ocean conservationist who died at sea. Stewart's known worldwide for...
The family has received messages of support from across the world. Family and friends say Stewart's job is not done yet.
We should be so thankful that in this little galaxy of stars that our life is and our friends are, that we had a son like Rob at the center of it.
But I think his real legacy will be all of these other people that he inspired who will carry his work forward.
It was an amazing journey. It was very much a learning process for me all the way along. Because in the beginning, it was sort of like, what? We're all gonna die. All the way through, trying to figure out, how we're gonna save ourselves. Seeing all the destruction that humans had wrought on ecosystems and species and the lack of care that was coming, I sort of developed a distrust and a dislike of humanity at times. And then through making this movie, trying to educate humanity about what was happening to sharks and seeing them take that cause and fight for it, particularly kids, it really instilled a lot more hope and made me love humanity a lot more than I ever could before. We still have a bright future if we want it, but we've got to do something now.
I'm standing in front of Darwin's Arch at Darwin's Island. This is Darwin's Arch, right? And Darwin Island. Now this is the mecca of diving in. I've lost it. Like I ever had it.
Well, when I started out, I wanted to bring people closer to sharks than they've ever been before, so that, they could actually see an interaction with sharks they've never seen before and truly understand them. As an elephant falls for ivory in Africa and the world goes crazy. Elephants kill 200 people a year. Sharks kill 5 people a year. We kill 100 million of them and nobody notices. The reality behind sharks is that they're not predators of people. If sharks, ate people, the oceans would be a really dangerous place and people would be getting eaten every day. But they're not.
I think what's unfair and irresponsible is wiping out 90% of the most important, longest-lasting predator the planet has for the sake of soup.
Thank you, everyone, for being part of the largest rally for climate change in history.
This cannot end today. This energy is amazing, and you've got to bring it forth into everything that you do. There's nothing more important than conservation, because conservation is the preservation of human life on Earth.
People don't understand how ecosystems work because they're never taught it. I mean, if you look at the education system, why are we taught Shakespeare and algebra before we're taught conservation? Before we're taught how to survive on a planet, especially if we know by mid-century that our survival is very much in jeopardy.
This stuff's important. We depend on the oceans to survive. We depend on life. It's life that gives us our food, our water, and our air.
So this is it. This is it. This is the generation. This is the task of your time. Are we going to save the ecosystems we depend on for survival, or are we going to live in lack and starvation and crisis and fight each other over what's left? I believe entirely that we are all morally bound together, and that if we are made aware of these issues, we'll make different decisions. Be conscious of what you eat, where you put your dollars, and how you live your life. Nothing is more important than this. There's never been an issue this big, and there's never been an issue that needs your involvement more than this. So everybody, thank you. You've got an opportunity to become a hero, so be a hero.
High above the chimney top, that's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dare to, why, oh, why can't I? Still here.
We are the pointed end of stars. We cut a hole in the dark. Sing so high, we build the sky. And with the tears we cry, we fill the sea of love. Let the water breathe. Down, down beneath. And let no one be afraid. Here where love here a bird cannot be lost. The mermaids perched upon the rock, and everywhere is home, my food and my clothes. The shells around her neck and the seaweed all along. Tell them that I'm still alive, and that birds, they never really die. Forever, it's a forever flight, and the story can be said with a smile. See his reflections everywhere, in the water, the fire, the earth, the sky. Hear his voice in the wind, a heart so rare, a heart so rare. Let the water breathe. Down, down beneath. And let no